The first psychological trap every trader falls into is so common, so predictable, and so deeply rooted in human nature that most people never realize it is happening. In fact, many traders spend years trying to solve every problem except this one. They change strategies, they change indicators, they change markets, they change time frames, they change mentors, they change brokers, they change risk management rules. They change everything except the one thing that was sabotaging them from the very beginning. The strange part is that this trap often feels like confidence. It feels like intelligence. It feels like optimism. It feels like ambition. Yet hidden beneath those appearances lies one of the most destructive forces in trading, the belief that knowing is enough. Almost every trader begins their journey with the same assumption. If I learn enough, I will succeed. At first, this seems reasonable. After all, that is how success works in most areas of life. If you study hard, your grades improve. If you practice a skill, you become better at it. If you learn a profession, your competence increases. Knowledge creates progress. Knowledge creates results. Knowledge creates confidence. The mind naturally assumes trading follows the same pattern. Learn more, earn more. Simple. But the market is unlike almost anything else a person will ever encounter, because the market does not merely test what you know, it tests who you are, and that distinction changes everything. Many traders enter the market believing they are competing against other traders. They imagine a battlefield of strategies, indicators, and technical analysis. But after enough time, something uncomfortable begins to emerge. The real battle is not happening on the chart. It is happening inside the trader. A trader can understand support and resistance. A trader can understand risk management. A trader can understand market structure. A trader can understand probability. A trader can understand everything and still lose money. That realization feels almost offensive at first because it violates one of the deepest beliefs people carry through life, the belief that knowledge automatically produces results. The market has a way of exposing the weakness in that assumption. A trader studies for 6 months, reads books, watches videos, practices strategies, learns concepts, builds confidence, finally opens a position. The trade begins moving against them. Immediately something changes. The knowledge remains. The strategy remains. The plan remains. Yet emotion enters the room. Fear, doubt, health, anxiety. Suddenly the trader is no longer operating from information. They are operating from feeling. The chart has not changed. The strategy has not changed. The probabilities have not changed. Only one thing has changed. Risk became real. And that is where the first psychological trap reveals itself. Most traders think their problem is knowledge. The real problem is that knowledge behaves differently when money is involved. A person can understand risk perfectly when nothing is at stake. Understanding risk while losing money is an entirely different experience. This is why so many traders discover a painful contradiction. They know exactly what they should do, but they do not do it. They know where their stop loss belongs. They move it. They know they should let winners run. They close early. They know they should remain patient. They overtrade. They know revenge trading is destructive. They do it anyway. The gap between knowing and doing becomes impossible to ignore. And yet most traders respond by gathering more knowledge, more books, more courses, more indicators, more strategies, as if information can solve a problem that was never caused by a lack of information. The irony is almost tragic. Many traders are drowning in knowledge while starving for discipline. The market reveals this slowly. At first, traders believe they are searching for a strategy. Months later, they realize they are searching for certainty. The two are not the same. Uncertainty is one of the most dangerous addictions in trading. Human beings crave certainty. The brain is designed to seek it. Every major decision in life is influenced by the desire to reduce uncertainty. People want guarantees. They want prediction. They want control. The market offers none of these things. That is why trading feels unnatural. Every trade exists inside uncertainty, no matter how strong a setup appears, no matter how convincing the analysis becomes, no matter how experienced the trader is. The next outcome remains unknown. The human mind struggles with this reality. It wants reassurance. It wants confirmation. It wants certainty. And because certainty cannot be found, traders begin searching for substitutes. A better indicator, a better mentor, a better strategy, a better system. The search never ends because the problem was never technical. It was psychological. The first trap is not believing you need more knowledge. The first trap is believing knowledge will eliminate uncertainty. The market has no intention of removing uncertainty. It exists because of uncertainty. Every transaction, every price movement, every gain, every loss, all emerge from uncertainty. And yet traders spend years trying to escape it. This creates another fascinating contradiction. The trader believes they are learning the market. The market is actually teaching them about themselves. Few experiences expose human nature as quickly as risk. Risk strips away performance. Risk removes illusion. Risk reveals character. A person can believe they are patient until money is involved. A person can believe they are disciplined until temptation appears. A person can believe they are rational until fear arrives. The market acts like a mirror, not a mirror that reflects appearance, a mirror that reflects psychology. This is why intelligent people often struggle in trading. Intelligence creates confidence in thinking. Trading requires confidence in uncertainty. Those are different skills. An intelligent trader often believes the right answer exists somewhere. If they study enough, analyze enough, work hard enough, eventually they will discover the perfect approach. The market repeatedly punishes that belief because trading is not about finding certainty. It is about functioning effectively without it. The distinction appears subtle, yet it changes everything. A trader enters a position. The trade moves slightly against them. Immediately, the mind begins creating stories. Maybe the analysis was wrong. Maybe the setup failed. Maybe the market changed. Maybe something was missed. Maybe this loss can be avoided. Fear begins negotiating with reality. This negotiation often happens so quickly the trader barely notices it. The stop loss gets adjusted. The risk increases. The original plan disappears. The emotional need for relief becomes stronger than the commitment to discipline. Notice what happened. The strategy did not fail. The trader abandoned it. This moment occurs thousands of times every day across financial markets. Different countries, different accounts, different strategies, same psychology. The market remains unchanged. Human nature remains remarkably consistent. This is why so many experienced traders eventually arrive at the same conclusion. The market is not difficult because it is complicated. The market is difficult because it forces people to confront themselves. A trader may spend years believing they are trying to master price action. Eventually, they discover they are trying to master their own reactions. The first psychological trap delays this realization. It convinces traders that external solutions can solve internal problems. It whispers that success exists one strategy away, one indicator away, one course away, one breakthrough away. Meanwhile, the actual problem remains untouched. Emotional discomfort. Human beings are naturally driven to avoid discomfort. The market weaponizes this instinct. A loss creates discomfort. The trader avoids it. A losing trade creates discomfort. The trader moves the stop loss. Patience creates discomfort. The trader enters early. Waiting creates discomfort. The trader forces trades. Uncertainty creates discomfort. The trader searches for certainty. Again and again, the same pattern emerges. The trader believes they are making decisions about the market. In reality, they are making decisions about emotion. This is where many careers become trapped, not because traders lack intelligence, not because they lack effort, because they misunderstand the nature of the problem. Imagine a person standing in front of a mirror attempting to fix their reflection. Every adjustment becomes frustrating. Every effort feels ineffective. Nothing changes because the problem was never inside the mirror. The problem existed elsewhere. Trading often works the same way. Many traders spend years trying to fix the reflection, the chart, the strategy, the setup, the indicator. Meanwhile, the true source remains untouched, the mind observing the chart. This realization can feel unsettling because it removes excuses. It becomes harder to blame the market, harder to blame institutions, harder to blame manipulation, harder to blame circumstances. The spotlight shifts inward, and that is uncomfortable. The market has a strange way of making people confront truths they would rather avoid. A trader discovers they are impatient. A trader discovers they fear being wrong. A trader discovers they crave validation. A trader discovers they need certainty. A trader discovers they struggle with discipline. These discoveries rarely appear in trading plans, yet they often determine outcomes more than technical analysis. The first psychological trap prevents traders from seeing this. It condenses them the next piece of information will solve everything. But information without emotional control becomes dangerous. Knowledge without discipline becomes inconsistent. Strategy without execution becomes useless. Understanding without application becomes illusion. This is why some traders possess extraordinary knowledge yet remain unprofitable, and why others with simpler methods often succeed. The difference is rarely found on the chart. It is found in behavior. Behavior under pressure. Behavior under uncertainty. Behavior under emotional stress. The market does not reward what traders know. It rewards what traders consistently execute. That distinction is difficult to accept because it removes the comfort of endless learning. Learning feels productive. Execution feels vulnerable. Learning creates certainty. Execution creates exposure. Learning happens safely. Execution happens where consequences exist. Most traders spend years in the first environment while avoiding the second, not consciously, psychologically, because learning feels good. It creates progress without emotional risk. Execution forces confrontation with reality, and reality is unforgiving. A trader can hide from losses inside theory. They cannot hide from losses inside a life position. This is why the first psychological trap becomes so powerful. It disguises itself as improvement. The trader genuinely believes they are progressing. They are consuming information, studying harder, learning more, yet their behavior remains unchanged. The same fears appear, the same mistakes repeat, the same emotional reactions return. The market keeps delivering the same lesson, and the trader keeps looking elsewhere. Perhaps the most uncomfortable truth is this. The first psychological trap survives because it protects the ego. If the problem is knowledge, the solution feels simple. Learn more. If the problem is psychology, the solution becomes personal. Now the trader must examine fear, discipline, patience, impulse, control, identity. That journey is far less comfortable. Yet every experienced trader eventually arrives there, because the market leaves no alternative. Eventually the trader realizes something profound. The market was never demanding perfection. It was demanding acceptance. Acceptance of risk, acceptance of uncertainty, acceptance of losses, acceptance of probabilities, acceptance of emotional discomfort. The trader who cannot accept these realities spends years fighting them. The trader who finally accepts them begins seeing the market differently, not as an enemy, not as a puzzle, not as a machine to conquer, but as an environment that reveals truth. Truth about risk, truth about discipline, truth about human behavior, truth about themselves. And perhaps that is why the first psychological trap is so dangerous. It delays the most important realization a trader can make, the realization that the greatest obstacle was never the strategy, never the market, never the chart. It was the belief that knowledge alone could overcome the deepest instincts of human nature. Because in the end, the market does not care how much a trader knows. It cares how they behave when fear arrives, how they behave when greed appears, how they behave when uncertainty becomes unbearable. That is where the real game begins. And for most traders, that realization arrives much later than they expected, long after the indicators, long after the strategies, long after the search for certainty. Only then do they discover the truth hidden beneath every chart. The first psychological trap was never a lack of knowledge. It was believing knowledge was enough.